Happy Wednesday. Welcome back to the Lorden Arts channel. I'm John Lorden. Thank you so much for spending some time with us here today. You know, it's not often that we have updates on Case Cracked episodes, since justice has arrived in a lot of those stories, but every now and then we cover ones where the trial is still in motion, or sometimes you have things that happen post-trial. Sometimes we see the path to justice get challenged, and other times we see it come through. Today, we're going over updates on several cases, including a young couple whose lives were taken at a campground, a caring teacher that was taken from the world, and a child who will never get the chance to experience all that life has to offer. The first episode with an update is one we called The Man in the Woods, and it was released in July of 2019. We told you the story of David Schuldes and his fiancée, Ellen Matthews. The young couple were shot and killed shortly after setting up their tent at the McClintock Park campground in Wisconsin in 1976. Their killer was not found until Parabon Nanolabs stepped in 2019. DNA taken from the sexual assault of Ellen Matthews confirmed that the killer was a man named Raymond Van Nieuwenhoven. Van Nieuwenhoven's trial was delayed multiple times, with his defense arguing that he didn't remember the crime and was not fit to stand trial. Each time, he was sent back, and the court was told he was competent to stand trial. Finally, in August of 2021, he was found guilty of their first-degree murders and sentenced to 2 life sentences that would run consecutively. A friend of Ellen's, Lynn Baumgartner, told the press, "I know Ellie and Dave would not want us to carry this around forever and ever and ever, so we need to think in those terms now. And hopefully, they're resting better up there, watching over us all the time." Family members of both victims say, it's now time to move on. In July of 2018, we released Justice for Christy Mirack, the story of a teacher who was killed days before Christmas in 1992. The brutal attack happened in her apartment. Presents wrapped for her students were strewn around the scene. It would take about 25 years and a new technology to find her killer. C.C. Moore, the genetic genealogist that helped crack the Golden State Killer case, and Parabon Nanolabs got to work and determined a wedding DJ known as DJ Freeze, whose real name is Raymond Charles Rowe, was the culprit. Police confirmed it by collecting a water bottle and chewing gum he had used at one of his DJing gigs. Rowe pled guilty in 2019 to first-degree murder and was sentenced to life in prison without parole plus 60 to 120 years. Since then, 3 motions have been filed on his behalf, and it looks like Rowe is now saying he's actually innocent. His legal team is trying to get additional DNA testing and further discovery for the case approved. He now claims that his semen was found because they had consensual sex that day. Why did he plead guilty in the first place? He's saying that he felt like he had no choice because the state filed a notice to seek the death penalty, which he avoided with that guilty plea. Items they're looking to have retested are a cutting board found near Marac, a toaster that would have been near the cutting board, Marac's tan pants, her sweater, her undershirt, the door, and the doorknobs to her apartment, and also a re-examination of the swabs taken from her body. According to court documents, Rowe alleges that his DNA will not be found on the items he wishes tested, but another male's will. And in Rowe's view, such results will exonerate him. Personally, I'm not positive that finding other DNA on those items proves someone else was the attacker, though it is believed that the cutting board was actually part of the struggle in the apartment. The way she was found would heavily suggest a sexual assault, and that was the motive. And a witness for the Pennsylvania State Police Forensic DNA Division says that they found strong body fluid samples that only contained 2 contributors, Rowe and Mirack. So this really feels like a shot in the dark by a man with nothing to lose and a lot to gain. Finally, Steve Pankey, the man accused of killing 12-year-old Janelle Matthews back in 1984, who is also apparently a fan and patron of true crime creators such as myself, has his trial date nearing. In the pretrial motions, his team has been fighting to get certain evidence removed, including what another 12-year-old said back at that time, and a witness that was reported to be the last adult to see Janelle, who possibly heard Pankey say he wondered what it would be like to shoot someone. That witness has now given conflicting statements saying that he doesn't recall that. However, the interview when he made that statement was recorded. It's also reported that the witness had a labor dispute with Pankey at the time, so is that testimony going to hold up even if they get it introduced? They're also trying to keep out information from Pankey's ex-wife about a dispute between Pankey and her father, as well as testimony from an operator of a salvage yard. Apparently, Pankey disposed of a vehicle there, and the operator found him creepy, evil, and angry. Finally, one of our true crime social media family will actually be testifying at the trial. Ed Dentzel from Unfound had an extended interview with Pankey in late 2019, and for some reason will now be on hand in the courtroom. Of course, we wish the best to Ed on this, and we'll keep watch of this pursuit of justice. You can find Ed's interview with Steve Pankey in the description box below. The now 70-year-old Steve Pankey's trial is scheduled to begin October 6th. That's it for today's updates. Please join us again on Friday for a special episode I'm pulling together. Many people are wondering why some missing person cases get better media coverage and help than others. Joining me will be a few experts, including Todd Matthews, who you may have heard about on this week's Case Cracked, to discuss all this, and hopefully together we can find some tips to help families in similar situations. Please don't miss it. This Friday, right here on the Lord and Arts channel.